Welcome back to Real Estate UnRaked, the show where we tell you the truth that most are too scared to say out loud, and we unrake it. And today, we're diving into what I honestly believe is going to be the biggest market shift since 2008. Your agent that you're dealing with probably has no idea what's about to hit in 2026, but you will.
Because this isn't just another market cycle. We're talking major structural changes, assumable mortgages exploding, long-term loans reshaping affordability, builders misreading demand, insurance reform actually shifting buyer behavior, all colliding at once.
And the wild part, most agents aren't preparing for any of it. They're still pricing homes like it's 2021 and giving advice based on what worked 3 years ago. Meanwhile, buyers and sellers are about to face a completely new playbook.
So today, we're not sugarcoating anything. We're breaking down exactly what's coming, the good, the bad, and the stuff nobody in the industry wants to talk about. Let's unrake it.
Let's do it.
All right. Hey, welcome back to Real Estate UnRaked, podcast number 15. And we have great weather, a great backdrop. We're sitting at our teammate's Dane's house right now. And I love your backyard, buddy.
Hey, nothing better than being poolside.
That's right. That's right. So here we are in the middle of December, guys. We're wearing shorts, t-shirts, and we are enjoying Northeast Florida. So if you ever want to come to Northeast Florida, you know who to call. All right. It's dad joke time.
You want me to go first?
I always like it when you go first, sir.
All right. Why don't real estate signs ever get nervous? Because they always know where they stand, even when the market doesn't.
All right. So let me ask you something. Do they allow loud laughing in Hawaii or just aloha?
Oh, gosh. Oh, my.
I know. Oh, my gosh.
Just wow.
All right. So let's dive into this. Everybody, I think, buyers, sellers, people that are even thinking about buying or selling, people that are wanting to rent, people that are in the business of real estate are all anxious about what 2026 is going to bring. And my gosh, if there isn't a bunch of myths, a bunch of rumors, a bunch of talk about what's going to happen. At the end of the day, I think everybody is super concerned about one thing, affordability.
Affordability, yep.
And that's going to be what's going to happen, okay? So we're heading into one of the most dramatic real estate shifts of the decade. 2026 is where everything starts cracking. Mortgage lock-ins easing, new lending products are hitting, insurance is changing, and millions of life events are forcing people to move again. Okay. Now, and let's talk insurance for just a second, because I know I'm going to get off the beat, because I love getting off the beat. You know, like a squirrel.
Chasing rabbits.
That's right. Chasing squirrels. All right. So the insurance thing, guess what happened this year for our hurricane season in Florida? And this is for everybody that's outside of the state. What happened this year for our hurricane season?
Nothing.
Exactly. This is the first time in, like, they said, what, 15 to 20 years?
Yeah, it's been a long time
that we haven't had a hurricane that hit Florida.
You're right.
I'm smelling insurance discount.
Yeah, you think?
Maybe that's one of those myths I was just talking about.
Yeah, you think?
All right. So let's talk about this. All right. Some big things that we need to talk about when we're talking about the market being reset is the inventory is loosening, but not evenly across price points. Okay. We'll get into that. And then the buyers re-entering when the rates stabilize into the mid fives or high fives. I think that's going to happen.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And then finally, I think the sellers are going to stop waiting for that perfect rate to sell their house. They're sitting on that great interest rate right now. And instead of just trying to give away the farm right now to get out into something, knowing that it's going to be on the market for a little bit longer than 90 days right now, that, you know, I think they're going to finally say, okay, I'm going to use that equity that my real estate agent's been talking to me about for 2 years and use that as a powerful tool against this interest rate.
Right.
And I don't know how many times have we told everybody this, and how many times have we talked this on the podcast, that the minute that interest rates fall, we're going to see 1.6 million more buyers in the market nationally.
Yeah.
So what is that going to do with prices? Going to go up.
Yeah, they're going to go up quick.
Less negotiation.
Right.
You know, it's things are going to be holding firm. It's going to turn back into a seller's market.
That's
a little
right.
bit. But I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. But we're going to talk about one of the probably the first biggest things. I mean, if you've been paying attention to the news a little bit, our president and a couple other organizations have been talking about doing certain things to help this affordability factor out and kind of jumpstart this. First one is the assumable mortgage boom. Okay. This is a sleeping trend. This is something that I've been paying attention to quite a bit because even if the interest rates don't change and shift a lot, what we're seeing is we got to figure out a way to make it still affordable for buyers. And I know the president of Fannie Mae is working diligently and wants to make sure the market's going to be able to handle this. But to give you an example, all right, let's look at this as in, let's say you got a $400,000 loan on a home, okay? Or that's the value of the house. And let's say that buyer or the seller only owes $200,000 of that at that great rate of 2.9%. All right. The whole 50,000 overhead view of this is that customer can assume that mortgage, the remainder of that mortgage at the low rate, and then do the current market rate for the remainder of that mortgage. This is a great thing for new buyers because it's going to save you on average between $400 to $600 a month. It's also a great thing for sellers because guess what you get to do? You get to assume that mortgage at the lower rate. So actually, let me stop for a minute. Clarify that. Sellers that are selling their home, going to use their equity to go buy a new home, they can assume that lower rate and use the equity to pay off and even get the higher rate loan that they have to do in the current market value even lower.
Right.
So if they do that, guess what? They could save even more money.
Right.
Does that seem a little bit affordable for buyers and sellers right now?
Absolutely. Would help out a lot of people.
I agree. You know, millions of homeowners will need to move during life events. I think we're into that 4 to 7 year mark where people have been staying in their homes since 2021, 2022. And if they don't have to move because of something happens with the family or work or anything else, people have stayed put.
Oh, yeah.
They really have. And it's hanging out. People are getting anxious. People are wanting to do something.
Right.
I can see it. I can feel it. Heck, I even feel it myself. You know, when I put my consumer hat on, I really do. But what's going to happen is watch when these rates start going. People are going to chase subpar 4% rates like gold. And sellers with assumables start advertising their mortgage as part of that on the listing. You know, it's the first thing that I thought about.
Right.
After getting past the affordability factor of it. So the agents themselves are going to need to understand the assumption structure, the paperwork, the lending approvals, equity gaps, etc. Okay. So I really think on this whole entire thing, assumables will become the biggest hidden inventory source of next year. If they get it right.
Right.
Okay.
If they get it right. Now, the only assumable loan right now are VA loans.
Right.
So, you know, we need to make sure everybody knows that. So if you're VA, you know, you still can take advantage of assumable loans.
Yeah. You got that. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it just VA to VA or is it VA to anyone?
VA to VA.
Aha. Did you know that, Garrett?
I didn't.
Okay. Good. See, we're all learning something today.
Yep.
I hate putting you on the spot. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
All right. All right. Let's jump into something. I don't want to talk about it, but we have to because this is an educational podcast and it says we're giving our customers all the knowledge.
Right.
All right. So I can talk about the 40-year mortgage. That's already happening right now. It happens on special circumstances. Dane, you know about that a little bit.
Yeah. They are non-QM loans. And what that is a non-qualified mortgage loan. And they do not meet the standard rules of qualified mortgages. They are designed for borrowers who can afford a home but don't fit traditional lending guidelines. It's fully regulated and legitimate, just more flexible. So who are these non-QM loans for? Well, self-employed buyers using bank statements or business deposits for income, or buyers with irregular or seasonal income like commission, bonuses, overtime. Real estate investors using rental income, debt service coverage ratio, for example, borrowers with past credit events, bankruptcy, foreclosures, and high asset low income buyers such as retirees.
I mean, do you really see these people hanging out for this stuff for 40 years?
No.
It's short-term relief.
Yeah.
It lowers the payment. They're either more likely going to refinance it, or they just. I just can't see them hanging out for 40 years. That's a lot of money you're going to end up paying.
Well, you're not gaining equity when you're extending the term of your loan that long.
You're not. You're really not. And 40-year is not the talk right now in the news. What's the talk in the news right now is the 50-year loan. Yeah. That is just because the government's been making it a big thing about trying to help affordability. I'll be honest with you. The same scenario and the way people thought about it happened when it was Roosevelt, right? That brought up, I forgot which president brought up the 30-year mortgage. I'll have to do the research on it. Right. But I did remember hearing something about it that when the 30-year was released, it was a talk like, oh my gosh, you do that. But you know what? It's a common practice now.
Oh, yeah.
Do I believe that 50 years is going to be common practice? No, I don't. Not for the average consumer. That's nuts.
I believe that's part of the affordability factor we've been talking about in all these other podcasts. It's helping, let's say, for example, a first-time home buyer to get in with a lower price rate, if you will, price range. Yeah,
it's just what it is monthly payments and the lower monthly payment. And the idea of making sure that you refinance as soon as possible, it would be great.
You got to do that.
I think, utilizing some of the equity in the house and refinancing it, stuff like that. There's a lot of things that I could get into to talk about that, but I always like to leave that up to our lenders because they actually had the current information because things change all the time.
Yeah.
But the bold take on this stuff is the 40-year and the 50-year is, banks don't care about affordability. They care about keeping you in debt longer.
Yeah.
All right. And we know that cash is king. It's great, but not everybody in this world can afford to be able to do stuff like that. I will say, bringing up the cons that we talked about the insane interest rate, your equity built up is very, very slow, and you stay leveraged for about half of a lifetime, which is horrible. I would never, if I didn't have to do it and the situation the buyers could afford not to do that, I would tell them, hey, pay the extra $250 a month.
I agree.
Or $300 a month. There's going to be a cycle as interest rates start to drop a little bit. There's going to be that refi factor.
Mm-hmm.
And even your current lender that you're using right now, talk to them about refi options. Shop that. Heck, just like I do with insurance costs and everything else, I shop that stuff once a year. And I always pay attention to my mortgage. And I always sometimes look at other lenders and the fees to refinance and stuff like that sometimes. And it's not that I refinance and take equity out because you don't want to do that.
No.
The smart thing to do is if you refinance, which right now I haven't been focusing on that much, even though I look at it. But whenever, you were in the mid threes before or even the high threes, whenever they had that real boom where things went down below 3 for just a little bit, everybody was doing the refinancing thing. And you could either take the equity out and use that to pay off some other higher debt, which that's a smart thing to do. Right. Don't take out any more than you need out of your home. But nowadays, if you can refinance at a lower rate, but refinance at the current debt amount on the loan, what's being on your loan.
What's owed. Yeah.
Yeah. What's owed. That's the word. Oh my gosh. Some things just don't come out right, do they? But if you focus on that, you can lower your monthly payment on that and you can still hold the equity. Because at the end of the way, to me, owning a home and having that equity is what creates generational wealth for you.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you're at, what you got. If that's what it is about real estate, generational wealth based on the equity of the asset. All right. So what's the other thing that's really important that we've been doing for years is the mortgage lock-ins. That's going to start breaking. We're going to start seeing some adjustable rates again. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but people can only sit still for so long. Okay. Things are going to be moving. Life force makes things move. Job relocations, growing families. I hate to use this word, but divorce, aging parents, downsizing, and burnout of waiting. How many people are patient in today's world?
Not very many.
Not a lot.
I mean, we're on the edge of instant gratification. We're on the edge of knowing what's going on right away. We don't have to wait for the 10 o'clock news anymore because we get on our phones within minutes.
Right.
and most of it's all fake anyway. But
that's a whole different podcast.
That's a whole different podcast that we'll talk about. But people don't want to wait. People don't have the patience, and we're seeing that shift. So they're going to want that lower payment, and they're going to risk a little bit more to try to get that lower payment any way they see fit. So you're going to see the market adjust to that, just because they've been hoping that the rates would drop in the last year and a half, 2 years, and they haven't. They've been holding firm on that. You're going to see some laxy daisies on that. You're going to see some creative ways to lower the cost. But just remember, even though it's lower monthly fee, it's still going to cost you more and the duration of that loan. So be smart about it.
Right.
And us as your agents will make sure that we help educate you the best we can. And we partner with some great lenders that will be able to describe everything, talk to you before, during, and even after the sale. So no worries there at all. But, at the end of the day, with this mortgage lock-in, you're going to see inventory start loosening slowly at first, then fast. Equity makes moves possible even with higher rates. So that's actually a pretty good thing. All right. Here, Dane, you wanted to talk about this. Builders are overbuilding the wrong houses right now. Builders are chasing profit and not what the market actually needs. Okay. So what do you think?
Well, what I believe is I think most houses, especially in the Northeast Florida area, they're looking at price range 450 plus is what most new builders are building. And I believe in order to make it affordable for younger buyers, so to speak, you need to look more or less in the 275, 350 price range. And I believe that will definitely start moving the real estate market.
Yeah. No. Garrett, what do you think? Do you think that's pretty much an accurate assessment of what we're kind of dealing with right now and what I think the builders need to do to shift?
No, yeah, I agree with what Dane said. If they have that first-time home buyer group is mainly around that 275, probably would cut off 400K, 375, 400K. So them having a lot of inventory higher than that price, those houses are just going to sit and they're going to give crazy incentives at some point.
Absolutely.
Well, the crazy incentives are already starting.
Yeah.
I won't name the builder, but I'll tell you, you've got to the end of the year, you're going to get a 0.99% rate for 1 year. Then it goes to 2.99, and then it goes to 3.99 from year 4 to 30. And that is all prepaids that they give you on that. That goes into your escrow to pay that down, that rate.
Right.
So they're trying to move homes. They're going to start doing some really crazy stuff because the builders pay interest on homes once they're completed. Even before they're completed, really, they pay interest on these things, and they want the idea for them to build, sell, and move on to the next is their business model flat out.
Absolutely.
And anytime that house sits for longer than a certain period of time, that takes a negative effect of their business model. So buyers will get the opportunity to take advantage of that. Take advantage of that now, because nobody's getting an opportunity like that. That's why we've been harping on new builds quite a bit. And I always like talking about resale too, because there's a lot of people and a lot of sellers right now that are offering money towards buy down rate that you can get to still kind of keep competitive with the new construction and also make it more affordable and still have, like, for example, you don't want to go move to a new neighborhood because you don't know what's going to bring.
Right.
Move into an established neighborhood. You can actually foresee what neighborhood you're actually moving into.
Right. And I believe concessions is a very strong tool to use while trying to sell a home.
Yeah, I agree. So I think incentives are going to get even bigger. All right. Rate buy downs is going to return. And I think with the building that they've done right now to catch up in that 2 years behind kind of thing, I think they're running into where we have a plethora of inventory. We will run into a shortage again. I think once the rate changes, people are going to buy homes like crazy.
Right.
And you're going to run into that. And then you're going to see less incentives on building. But that, I would probably say that would be the end of 26, early 27. But that's going to go up and down. But the main thing is, I think the affordability stuff's going to come through. So these are some important things that you need to be kind of just watching out for as 26 begins. Or even things to plan for now. You know, you can ask Santa Claus, what do you want for Christmas? I want a lower interest rate. All right. So this is the part, I think this is Florida's wild card, guys. This is, I briefly talked about this before. I wanted to touch on it again. All right. I talked about the hurricanes, not touching this year, but this is a hot topic for us. Insurance reforms. This is the part of people in Florida always underestimate is insurance absolutely drives buying decisions. Okay. We're seeing crackdown, lower long-term cost. We're seeing more carriers come back into the state. Before they weren't doing that. They're actually pulling away.
Right.
There's different roof requirements that are being updated. So remember, 10 to 15 years, they make you replace a roof. No, that is not true in all aspects. Okay. You can actually have a home inspection done, roof inspection, and they do what they call life expectancy now. I've been doing that for 2 years.
Right.
A roof that's been done almost 15 years ago, you can do a life expectancy on it. So you don't have to have a roof replacement done on it, but later on, you're going to have to.
Right.
And then the buyer would have to make the decision. Do I want to try to get that expense concessioned with the deal, or am I going to be able to afford to handle that when the time comes? That's all related. You can get insurance bound and close on the home. Okay. Premiums are stabilizing, not cheap, just less explosive. Like that one phone call that we got 2 years ago. Hey, by the way, and I know you've been paying, $2,000 a month, but come first of the year when we got to renew your premium, it's going to be $7,000. No, thank you.
No.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, insurance is a huge part of your escrow. It's a huge part of the buying decision. So, we talked about what buying new, right?
Right.
What that does is what?
Gives you long-term on your roof or whatever other things you have going with your home.
Yeah.
It covers that. But one thing I would suggest is when looking for homeowners insurance, shop around. Don't always go with the first quote you get or the second, because not all insurance companies are equal and they have different price ranges.
That's right. I know the excitement of buying a new home, doing insurance shopping takes away the little of the glam.
Oh, yeah.
But I guarantee that is a step that will benefit you on a monthly basis when you do it, because there's nothing worse than seeing a premium increase that you didn't realize in your escrow and they pay for it. And guess what you got to do next year is you got to make up the difference that they paid for last year. And they also got to have a kitty to cover that for the following year. Yeah. So there's a house payment that can jump anywhere between $200 to $400 a month. So you just got to be careful with that. Yeah. So, shop around in the beginning, shop it around during your time frame. That way, when your premium expires, you can keep that maintained. There's nothing wrong with that. So here's the other thing. And this is big because technology has been big for all of us. Our phones, AI, I could talk about AI for a very long time. Do I like AI? I do. Does AI scare me? Yes, it does. But am I embracing it? I am. Okay. And one of the things that's going to be hitting the real estate market is AI is going to do what Zillow thought it could, but for real. Okay. It's going to have data-driven pricing. It's going to be able to calculate real-time market shifts based on the actions. Okay. And not just what everybody wants to say it is.
Right.
Real-time market shifts, predictive trend modeling, structure and insurance factors are included on that. So us as agents and you as a consumer need to understand AI. It's important because these are really, sometimes it's going to tell you the truth. Sometimes it's not, but I will tell you, they are improving quite a bit.
Well, that's our job to do the due diligence to make sure it is the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate to say this, but there's a lot of people that are using AI as a shortcut and not as a tool.
Right.
And when it becomes a shortcut and things get easier, us as humans are wanting to do less or less effort, but do more during the day. I love the idea of running our stuff that we talk about on the podcast to AI. So when we run it through AI, we use that just to kind of help us give some talking points. But my gosh, do we have to verify it?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why I always like to make sure. So remember, agents that don't understand AI won't just start losing something, listings and customers and stuff like that. They're going to become irrelevant. I know there's a lot of agents right now that use AI to, smooth out the edges and make their listing presentations more bold, better on the MLS. You can tell who's written that and who hasn't.
Right.
I hope we don't lose the human factor in it. because it's so important. I think knowing the data is important, having all this stuff, but you know what I still love is the gut feeling.
Yeah.
You know, that gut feeling that, you know, you can get something done and you can see something in front of you, but you're actually looking not directly in front of you, but you're looking 5 miles down the road.
Right.
And you know what's coming. You know that curve's
But
coming.
you can use AI to help with that as well. So
You can.
but you got to be smart about it. You can't just rely on it wholeheartedly.
You know, I don't know why I'm sitting here thinking of this. Remember the movie Twister?
Yeah.
The original one.
The original.
Not the Twisters.
Yeah.
Twister. And, you know, you had the two teams.
Right.
Bill, what's his name? That come back and he just would smell the dirt
Right.
and know exactly what's going to happen. And then you had the other team that was all highly technologically advanced and had all these sonars and all this kind of stuff. And the guy that still understood the feeling and the experience
Right.
still overcame that.
Yep.
I truly believe that it's still going to be an asset for the right agent.
Yeah. Agreed.
Which, by the way, we can do that.
Yes. Yes, we can.
We do that
The
all the time.
Rakers home group. Give us a call.
All right. So we talked about some pretty important points. So let's talk about this. What is buyers and sellers? What are we going to do now with this information? Okay. I think buyers need to hunt for assumables. I think they need to target overbuilt price points, use builder incentives before they shrink, and don't fear rates, structure smart deals. Okay.
Right.
And they can leverage us with that because, again, we're a service that we get hired for. And we will make sure we help you find those things.
Yeah. And the smart rates, again, goes back to concessions. You know, that, you know, you just ask for it and then you negotiate from there.
Right. Right. Absolutely. If your agent's not paying attention to what's going on in the market and not understanding what your needs and wants are, having that buyer's consultation in the beginning is super important. And I always love talking to, you know, customers and, you know, or just a casual conversation with somebody say, oh, no, you know, my brother's wife or one of my family members is an agent. I'm just going to use them. And I always like to say, that's great. You know, I'm happy for that. You got somebody in the family that's going to take care of you, but make sure they do that buyer's interview. Cause I do that for all my people too. And, you know, I just kind of leave it be. I don't say anything,
Right.
you know, just like we talked about last episode, just be quiet. And it's so funny within like whatever gathering, they'll seek me out and they'll say, what are you talking about? Buyer's interview. And I say, oh, well, if you got 20 or 30 minutes, I can someday, and I don't want to do it now because we're trying to enjoy ourselves, but
Right.
I can walk you through that. And I'm fine with walking them through that.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Whether they still want to go ahead and use their family member, I'm okay with it. I would rather provide you knowledge and earn that respect than, you know, trying to steal somebody and say, hey, come use me. You know,
Right.
at the end of the day, my expertise, my knowledge, and my relationship building skills is what's going to get you to use me as an agent versus, you know, a family member. It's an earn and deserved thing. It's not an entitled and established thing.
No, you make yourself a valuable asset.
Exactly. So the sellers, and what they should do now as well is, you know, your interest rate is now a marketing asset. Okay. So that's coming. Utilize that. Make sure your agents are utilizing that if you want to put it on the market. Prep early. Okay. 2026. Buyers are going to be picky.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't had a house on the market in the last 6 months, it's already happening now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to get worse.
Right.
Okay?
And buyers are more educated now too. So
yeah.
definitely got to prep.
Yeah.
Definitely with the AI stuff. So they're checking everything out.
One thing to go back on what buyers should do is on that 450 to 650K price range.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of inventory on. Take advantage of those incentives that they're giving out. Make sure you don't just look at resale homes doing your showings. Look at new construction and resale. And the new construction incentives, you might get a better deal.
Absolutely.
Yep. Agreed.
Hit that nail on the head.
Yep.
Also, consider for the sellers, offer, you know, concession money. Offer right out of the gate. Rate buy downs, a few other options you can use. I'd definitely go after that.
I do too. I believe that's a very strong tool, and I've used it many times in my negotiations this past year.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap up this episode, and I hope that you are excited about 2026 as much as we are. So 2026 isn't going to be something to panic about. It's something to prepare for. and you're now ahead of the curve because of what you listened to today.
And if you want real talk, real strategy, and real market intel, this is the show that's going to give it to you straight.
No fluff, no scripts, just the truth about what's coming and how to navigate it.
You want to stay locked in because the next few years are going to get wild.
That's for sure. So make sure that you subscribe and follow us, and check out our YouTube channel where we post full video of this podcast, plus our walkthrough tours, education videos, and tons of shorts to keep you in the know. And let me tell you, we do that. I love that stuff.
Yep.
So look us up, check us out, send us a message. Our team loves to comment on everything that we do as well. So, but thanks for listening, and we look forward to unraking it with you again next week.